Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Wealth Conversation podcast with me, Tsitsi Mutiti. I guide high-achieving women on their journey to build lasting wealth so they can prepare for an abundant future in every area of their life. I hope that today's episode will help you to transform your relationship with money so you can make the choices that will enable you to create the opportunities and lasting wealth that you desire. Let's get straight into this week's episode. We all have the desire to create wealth on our own terms, and I believe that this can be achieved once you are clear on what wealth truly means to you in the following areas of your life: physical, mental, spiritual, social, and financial. Now, if you are a regular listener of this podcast, then you will know that all my guests have shared their definition of wealth in each of those areas. In this episode, I revisit what physical and mental well-being means to 5 of my previous guests, and I hope that their definitions will help you to create your own unique definition. First up is your business coach's secret weapon, Jatia Jones. You can listen to the full interview with Jatia in episode 3, titled Why Clarity is Important. So the first one is physical well-being.
Movement. My whole theory is you can't feed if you're not fed. And I choose to give from my overflow, not from my saucer, not from my cup, so that I can stay full and others can too. And if I can't move in some type of form or fashion, whether it's my hands or my legs, then I'm not capable of doing those things. So for me, movement would be my definition of wealth in that area.
I love that. And the reason for movement as well. You can't feed if you're not fed. That I love it. The next one is mental well-being.
Peace would be my definition of wealth there. We talked earlier about course correcting, and for me, therapy has been a major role in being able to course correct, because really you don't know what you don't know, and not knowing those triggers or what trauma looks like or how we respond to things, and being able to move out of my own way gave me peace. Because at one point in time I was like, where did my happy go? And then I found my happy and I was like, now I just want peace. And so peace is definitely mentally my definition of wealth.
Wow, that was powerful. Moving on, Jibrita Gambe, a wealth manager based in Zimbabwe, told me in episode 9 that physical and mental well-being mean the following to him.
Physical well-being, that's taken a different light in my life ever since I turned 30. I took for granted my young metabolism in my 20s and, wasn't really, and even I was a big gym guy, but I was never the safest gym guy. And it's what is done is that I'm in my 30s and sometimes like my leg or back, it's too sore, right? And fitting into my favorite clothes sometimes is a very humbling experience, right? and physical well-being for me has taken that, not even from a nutrition standpoint, even being healthy helps me do everything that I want to do better, and having a body that's fit enough to go through, to support me through everything that I do, whether it's sitting on my desk having a Zoom from 8 until 8 and not having to take painkillers because I've been sitting for so long. That's definitely what physical well-being means for me now, being able to give my body enough so that it can take care of me as well.
What does mental well-being mean to you?
Mental well-being, for me personally, mental well-being, it's about having the right state of mind to make the best decisions, makes optimal decisions for myself, for those I love, and for those that care for me. There's a saying where I always use that you want to make the best decision based on the information you have on hand, but also you need to be in a good mental state to also be receptive to information. So it's something that I started doing practicing meditation and just listening. I'm a big podcast person. I listen to a lot of mindfulness stuff. There are some things that put me in the right state of mind. That mental peace is something I chase every day.
My girl, Jibrita Shelton, is the CEO of Jibrita Shelton & Co. and Chief Consultant of the Madness Method and Mind Your Madness Experience. Her definition of physical well-being is?
My physical well-being for me, though I am still working it out, of course, it's exercising. It's understanding, your body, understanding, being in tune with yourself, being so introspective with yourself that you don't have to seek the opinions of other people. You know intuitively what's happening within. It's also about, of course, taking care of your vessel, whether it's eating. I know that going to the gym is not everybody's jam, and that's cool, but finding ways to really steward your temple, whether it's massages, whether it's exercising, whether it's a dance class.
And her definition of mental well-being is?
I would honestly say, pay attention to what you're thinking. Pay attention to your most dominant thoughts. Are they positive or are they negative? Also, pay attention to how you self-talk, what you're telling yourself, and what you're feeling about yourself. I'm gonna insert this real quick, because most people only look at themselves in the mirror when they are on their way out of the house. But I would challenge you to take a moment and really, really, really look at yourself and think about what you're thinking about yourself. That's always a gauge to know where you are mentally. Because if I'm doing a negative self-talk within, it's going to show up on the outside as well.
Head over to episode 7 to listen to my full interview with Jibrita. Emma Gosling is a clinical hypnotherapist and mindset mentor. She supports high-achieving and over-giving female founders and executives to stop shortchanging themselves and have more time, fun, and money without the guilt. Physical and mental well-being mean the following to Emma.
Physical wealth for me is my health is my asset, and it's honoring my well-being and making sure that I'm resting, making sure that I'm eating well, etc. In terms of mental wealth, I would say again, knowing when to rest, knowing when to say no. We can't avoid stress and anxiety. They're natural parts of our lives, and so having good coping skills to get you through those periods or of more difficult periods, I think, is important.
You can learn more about Emma and the work she does in episode 8, titled Overgiving, When Generosity Undermines Your Financial and Emotional Health. The final contribution for this episode comes from Wazirah Gadwe. Wazi, as she is fondly known, is the founder of the Edmund Garwe Trust. She is also a workplace toxicity coach. In episode 15, Wazi talked about the link between shame and indebtedness and how completing the Choices Blueprint program transformed her relationship with money.
In terms of my physical, money means to me freedom, because it's a physical, it's something I can move, right? And it's not necessarily move it from one place to another. I can do it virtually. I can do it, either I can withdraw it, etc. So in terms of my physical, what money means to me is that it is something that's transferable. It's something that can be moved, and it's something that I can utilize as a tool. So for my mental, I think the beauty of money and my money story is that mentally, I have this mantra, right? It showed me that I am enough as I am. I do not lack anything because I'm in debt. So, or indebted, or because my money story is a little bit crazy. Mentally, once I found whom I am, once I realized that what's easy enough, and then I also was able to transfer that story to my money story and say, okay, this is my story right now, but this does not have to be, as you said, the story that I want to end with. And so mentally, I was able to put myself in a space where I could separate what are my values and where am I going to this is who I am because I'm in this state. So I'm not that person just because I'm indebted. I remain being Watsi, and what I have to work at is ensuring that my money story aligns to whom I am as a person, aligns to my values, aligns to the things I want to do. And so mentally, I have become so much stronger.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Connect with me at The Wealth Conversation on Facebook and Instagram so we can continue the discussion. Also, if you enjoy tuning into this podcast, make sure to leave a rating and review everywhere you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Until next week, stay focused on becoming the designer of your financial future.